I'm Andre Hugh and welcome to this edition of St. Martin Island Time TV News. A man was shot early Thursday in the district of French Quarter. The circumstances that led to this latest shooting is being investigated by the gendarmes. The victim is Joachim Richardson, known as Pinocchio, and is said to be known by law enforcement on the Dutch side. On the scene, reports state that the French emergency services made every effort to save the life of the victim, but he succumbed to his injuries. At the time of the shooting, Pinocchio was driving a white Hyundai car on the main road of French Quarter with number plates P9758 when he was shot multiple times by an unknown assailant. The car then ran off the road and slammed into a private wall, then into a nearby slave wall. The Dutch police responded by closing the border of French Quarter, and no vehicles could have entered the French side through the French Quarter border. They were all directed to the Oyster Pond border for crossing to French St. Martin. The gendarmes also blocked the border of French Quarter as well. International banks ending their corresponding banking relationships with Caribbean banks is a major threat to St. Martin, explained Minister of Finance Richard Gibson. Speaking at Wednesday's Council of Ministers press conference, Minister Gibson said the issue was discussed at a recent Caribbean Development Cooperation Commission CDCC meeting he attended in St. Kitts.
You need to have access to global international cross-border financial transactions. Without that, you can't develop. Because of the positions that certain international banks have taken, we are now under threat that correspondent banks prefer to end their relationship completely with local banks as far as cross-border financial transactions are concerned, as opposed to mitigating their risks by, on an individual basis, look at the client and take the necessary steps that needs to be taken to mitigate the risk. There are fines, to be truthful, that are huge, that are imposed on these international banks if they do not follow the procedures and the rules. FATCA has been the forefront of setting rules and regulations to combat terrorism financing and money laundering. And since 2008, when we had the global financial crisis, there were certain rules adopted which should make banks much more resistant to run on banks if there is a crisis. And the idea is that the bank should have to be able to resist a run for 30 days. In that connection, deposits, according to the Basel III treaty that has been signed, deposits are no longer counted as liquidity. Deposits formerly used to be counted for 20 to 40%. You can count that as capital for liquidity. Now you have to reserve 100% of your capital, and deposits no longer are counted as such until the deposit makes its full cycle through the necessary banks and gets back to the place it's supposed to be.
The Special Robbery Unit is presently investigating an armed robbery which took place on Friday, May 6th at around 12:50 p.m. at the Sports Gallery shoe store located opposite the last bus stop on Back Street. An unknown man wearing a motorcycle helmet, armed with a pistol, stormed into the establishment with the intention to commit the robbery. The security guard on duty saw what was taking place and attacked the suspect, who struck him with the weapon to the back of the head. The security guard and suspect got into an altercation, and the security guard managed to disarm the suspect. The suspect noticed that he was unsuccessful in his attempt, fled the scene, and jumped on the scooter along with another suspect that was waiting on him. The store representatives immediately called the police to give information on the suspects. The patrols chased the suspects through the Colby area. However, they managed to escape, leaving the scooter behind. Several items involved in this case were confiscated by the Special Robbery Unit for further investigation. Carnival is now over after St. Martin Carnival Development Foundation, the SCDF, hosted the closing jump up from Cahill to Carnival Village on Tuesday evening. No Limit Band, XP Band, Mixmaster Pauly, and Big and Serious Sound Truck led the jump up while hundreds participated. On arrival at the village, SCDF President Mike Granger thanked carnival lovers for making this year's carnival a success. Marketing Director Rolando Bryson and Telem Group of Companies representatives called out the winners of the various promotions the company had launched prior to carnival. Prizes included a brand new vehicle. Granger announced Sexy Cats as the winners of Juve Morning Jump Up competition and No Limit Band as the Band of the Year. Brian Mingo of Telem Group said this carnival was the best in years and appreciated the opportunity for the company to be the main sponsor for carnival. The closing speeches ended and King Momo was burnt to close the carnival season. And finally, on St. Martin Allentown TV News, an effort will be made by non-industrialized countries like St. Martin to get compensation from more developed countries to deal with the challenges of global warming and the impact it is having on small islands. So disclosed Acting Prime Minister Richard Gibson, who recently attended a meeting in St. Kitts of the Caribbean Development Cooperation Commission, CDCC, which falls under the Economic Commission for Latin America and the Caribbean, ECLAC.
Is at the heart of our economic existence, is being carried away, and pretty soon, if you don't take steps to stop the erosion, that pretty soon no one will come anymore to St. Martin to enjoy sun, sea, and sand. It's a major problem for all Caribbean islands, and this matter was tabled at the meeting of the CDCC, and the intent is, since this has such a devastating effect to the development of the Caribbean, to raise this issue at the UN. By the way, ECLAC as well as CDCC are operating arms of the United Nations. To bring it at the level, next month in Mexico, we're going to have a meeting where what we discussed at the CDCC will be tabled. The idea is, since this global warming problem is a problem not created by the Caribbean, in fact, there are African nations who complain that their harvests are less than what it used to be before because of global warming, and they are threatened on the long run with starvation because they will not be able to generate the food necessary to feed their people. This problem is a problem created by the industrial nations of the world who, through their industrialization, cause gases to be emitted into the atmosphere that damage the ozone layer to the effect that it no longer protects the earth from the sun rays in an efficient manner.
This has been St. Martin Allentown TV News. I'm Andre Huey. Thank you for watching.